So hello everyone, I'm Abhishek Verma and now you have started watching the very first hands-on video of Spring Microservices with Spring Boot. In today's video, we are not going to touch microservices at all. Yes, you heard it right. And still, this video is a part of microservices playlist. So in today's video, we are going to create a monolithic application from scratch step by step. Now you will say, what is a monolithic application and how is it related with microservices? So let's assume that you have created a Java project or a Maven project or a Spring Boot project. And in that, maybe you are adding something to the database, you are reading something, you are updating something, you are deleting something, or you are not even using database, but you are just working with the collections. Or maybe you are not even working with the collections, you are just working with the multi-threading. Or not even that, you are just working with some streams and lambda expressions. Or not even that, you are just writing a hello world in your project. Then also it is a monolithic application. So in short, whenever your project is going to contain one or more features, then that is known as a monolithic application in short. Whenever such monolithic applications becomes very huge in size, then we need to go for microservices, and that is this simple thing in reality. Now, why today's video is important? Because whatever the monolithic application we are going to create in today's video, step by step, we are going to convert the same application to microservices only. In short, I'm trying to tell you is that if you are not going to watch today's video, you won't understand anything in this playlist. I mean, that much tight coupling is allowed. Many times you say, no, we don't want to watch your previous playlist. That's fine. But at least one video you have to watch. Okay. And just a disclaimer that this video is going to be long. It's even longer than 2 hours. So please get ready with some snacks or with some drinks and you can start watching with this video. So now if you're ready with your tools and stuff, so without wasting no time, let's directly get started and see how the things are going to look like. So now we're in our browser, and before starting with the application, first of all, let's see what are the requirements of our backend application. I mean, then only we will be able to create a good application from scratch. So for this, what we will do is we will directly move on to this Pakistan tab. And here we see that, okay, this is the UI of our application. Now, what are the main requirements? So first of all, here I can see that there is a list and it looks like a paginated list, which is providing us data like ID, the owner name, first name, last name, city, state. Then for the pet, it is providing us name as well as the type, whether it's a dog or something like this. We will see which all different types are available. Then beside this, we also see that we can create an owner as well as a new pet. And what all we can create? So we can provide first name, last name, gender, city, state, mobile number, and email ID for the owner, which means ID is not being provided by us. Maybe it is automatically getting generated by the database. Then here we have a pet name, pet gender. Now gender can be male and female, and that is the same for both owner as well as the pet. Then afterwards we can have a pet name, then we can have okay, pet name we already covered. Then we can have pet category, we can have pet type. Now in type we can have a bird, a cat, dog, fish, rabbit, and all these are available. Under pet category, it says domestic and wild. If it is a domestic pet, then date of birth is required, and if it is a wild pet, then it says place of birth is required. Okay, that seems that okay, for every owner we are going to have one pet, which means between owner and pet we need to have a one-to-one relationship. I mean, here we don't need to go for one-to-many or many-to-many relationship. Then now in the pet, we will be keeping all these values. But the point is that if I will keep place of birth also and date of birth also in the same table, then what will happen is that afterwards we will see that okay, in our table, there are two columns, and most of the times either one column is empty or the other times other column is empty. So instead of having a single pet table, what we will do is we are going to make usage of some inheritance approach which we learnt in the Hibernate playlist. So that we are going to do here. Okay, so that means we are having a functionality to save the details, we are having a functionality to fetch the list. We can click on a particular one and we can fetch all the details of that particular owner and pet. So maybe this is find by ID or something like this. Then there is also a functionality to update the pet name. There is also a functionality to delete the owner as well as pet. Okay, so that we have to do. Then here we see this searching functionality is there. So as we discussed last time that okay, I can search for a particular name and then maybe the owner and the pet is going to come, or maybe they may not come. So like for this one we didn't got anything, but if I will search for James, we will get some owners in this. But this can be made in the backend as well as it can be implemented in the front end itself. I mean, once we have a list, then we can implement the same. So this also we will check later. And then here we have something as view pet stats. So here we will see that okay, it is just providing us the number of pets and various categories. Like in domestic we have these many pets, wild, male, female, and something like this. So this is our requirement which we have to create. So I can assume that in order to provide these stats, this is one API. Then in order to provide this saving functionality, it can be one API. Now you may say that okay, for saving the owner, saving a pet, there can be two different APIs. But here I believe that only one API can do the job. In the same API, we can provide all the data. Then here we see that okay, we click, we get all the details. So it may be find by owner ID, third API. There is update pet name, so fourth API, deletion, fifth API, and then there may be some API to getting the list, so sixth API. So in total we are seeing something around 6 APIs. We can add more also depending whether we wish to search by name and something like this or not. Okay, so this is the main thing which we can assume from this. Now let's start making it in the backend and see how it is going to look. So for this, we will first go here and let's go for this particular one. And just in order to get some help in between, what I will do is I will open another my demo project in my another screen also. So that wherever I will feel that there is too much of coding and not explanation, I will just copy paste that particular part and we are not going to miss anything in that. Otherwise, here, at least in this video, my goal is to write each and everything as much as possible so that you don't face any difficulty. Hence, this video is going to be long. Yeah, let's see how long it can be. So, here we go. Then here we will say something as, okay, we need to create a new Spring Boot project. So we can go here and let's say create new Spring Startup project. Then here we see something like this and let's call it as Pakistan only. So here let's go and let's call it as Pakistan. It is going to be of Maven. That's cool. Packaging is jar. Language is Java. I mean, we don't know Kotlin and Groovy. Then Java version, I'm planning, as I told you in the starting also, I'm planning to go with the latest stable version, that is 25. If you are willing to go for 21 and 17, then also it is fine. Otherwise, if you say no, we wish to want to make it with 8, then you have to do the changes manually because in the drop down that option is not here. Group name is going to be like this, com.Abhishek Verma even 0. In your case, you can keep your name also. Then here artifact ID, let's keep it same as the main project name. Version, let's keep it like this. Description, no need to change. Package, let it be like this only. Yeah. Then now let's click on next. Now the thing is that okay, first of all, let's see here the version. So here you see that here in the versions we are having 402 also, but that is currently in the snapshot. I believe this 402 will be getting released by 22nd of January. Till then the latest stable is 401. So what we will do is that during this playlist, we will keep on increasing the version whenever the latest stable version will be released. But as of now, 401, we are going to make usage of it. So now here what we see is that, okay, which all dependencies we have to add. Now the number one thing is I need to make a web application. So obviously a Spring Web dependency is needed. If you wish, you can select from here also because these are recently used. Otherwise, you can just simply have a look here. So let's search for web. So here in web, we don't want messaging, security, this, we don't want all this. Here it says Spring Web, reactive HTTP client, web services, Jersey, Warden and all this. We want Spring Web here, because the moment we are going to say Spring Web, it is going to provide us an embedded Tomcat container which is going to run on port number 8080 and also is going to support our controllers here. So hence we have added web here. Then the next one, since we want to save our data somewhere, so we want here data JPA. So let's search for this data JPA, and there we go, Spring Data JPA. Now the next thing is data JPA will only provide us the functionality of saving to a relational database. But which relational database we are going to use? By default, it can support H2 database, which is embedded and in memory. But instead of it, since I'm having MySQL in my machine, so I will prefer to go for MySQL here. And here we will say MySQL driver. So this one is also ready. Do we need anything else? Let me have a look. Okay. So now the next one is, here we are also going to make usage of Lombok. So let me see if I can get Lombok here. So yeah, I can also get Lombok here. For Lombok, you just need to remember that whenever you wish to use Lombok, you have to add the Lombok in your project also as a dependency. And beside this, in your IDE also, it should be supporting. So in your IDE, whether you are making usage of STS ID or you are making usage of IntelliJ ID, you have to add Lombok as a plugin here. So that is done. Now afterwards, since we will be doing the mapping between entity and DTO during our project, so I need something as MapStruct. So let me see if I can get. Okay, so MapStruct is not available from here. We will add it explicitly with the help of MVN repository, so not an issue. Now during this, what I will also want to do is, I wish to, let's say, okay, that we will see later. Okay, as of now we are fine with this. I don't see there is any issue, so let's just simply click on finish. Okay, so here we can see that it is getting imported step by step, and then here my mouse is again and again touching that button of the recording, so I just hope that it won't get stopped in between. So okay, that's cool. And here we can see the project. Let's go to the pom.xml and see whether it contains all the required things or not. And besides this, since here I'm making usage of Spring Tool Suite, so we are getting this boot dashboard, and even I can start my application from here. Okay, so let's go. And here this size seems to be enough. Otherwise, let me just do a double check that whether the size is fine or not. So here we will go to this fonts. Then here let's go, and currently it says console 16, but maybe you will say that okay, 16 is too less, so let me just make it as 18. So let's go for 18 and let's click on OK. Let's click on apply and close. Now I believe it's much more better. Okay, I mean, what else we can go beyond 18, like 20, 22, that is going to look even much more bigger. Okay, so I believe this is fine. So here we are making usage of the version 401, and this is the POM version, so this you don't need to worry. And this is the Spring Boot version 401. Now in case if you are watching after a few months, if you are not connecting with me on a regular basis, in that case what I suggest is that always whatever the demo I'm providing you, the same demo is going to be available on my GitHub for free. So download it first, execute it as it is, and once you feel it is working, then only start upgrading the version. Don't just upgrade the version blindly, because many times whenever we upgrade a version, there are some issues in the dependency, hence those have to be fixed by us. I mean, I don't know which issue is going to come in the future. So then here we see all these extra things, so let's just simply remove them like this, as simple as that. Then here we see Java version is 25, here we see data JPA, here we see Spring Boot Startup Web MVC. Now my understanding says that when we were having Spring Boot 3, if you also have worked with Spring Boot 3, there the web dependency was Spring Boot Startup Web, not Web MVC. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so this is basically a change which I feel between Spring Boot 3 and Spring Boot 4. If you feel I'm wrong, then you can just correct me. Okay, also what I love is I don't want to see this web MVC after data JPA. I mean, just for my understanding purpose, and hence I always like to see web on the top, then I want to see data JPA, and then here we see my SQL, so that looks good. then we have Lombok, then we have this data JP test, and then we have this web MVC test. Now this is also another interesting part. Earlier, we used to have one single Spring Boot starter test till Spring Boot 3. So you just have one single dependency, Spring Boot starter test, and then you can test whatever you wish, the simple service layer, the repository layer, controller layer. But since Spring Boot 4 onwards, they have added these different dependencies. So here, if you wish to test a controller layer, you need to add this particular dependency. If you want to test the repository layer, you have to add this particular one. That is fine also, but currently we are not going to do any kind of testing, so let's remove all these unwanted things. I mean, your pom.xml should be explainable. It should not be a case that, okay, in your pom.xml you just added the things blindly, and later on if someone asks you, you are thinking that, okay, why I have added. I mean, that simply gives an idea that, okay, you may have copy pasted the things. Then here we have these plugins, so Lombok, and it's automatically here, we don't need to worry. And here also let's remove this extra line, so that looks good, and currently it is of 67 lines. So let's do a Control A, and here let's do Control Shift F. So it automatically made it to 68 lines. That is fine, but it looks good. Now here, if we come to this particular one, we see under SRC test Java, these are failing because now we have removed the test dependencies, so no test cases will be supported, so we don't want them. Let's delete the testing package. Never delete SRC test Java directly, otherwise many times you are going to face the issues. Okay, now why you are going to face the issues, that you can check on your own, but I have told you that you can face, yeah. So that you can check with the ChatGPT also or normal Google also. It's very simple. Then here we go, and then we see something as the main application. Let's have a look to this particular one, and yeah, that looks nice to me. What I will just do is, I don't like this big name, and I'm going to just rename it. So here let's rename it to something simple, that is demo, because we are creating a demo here. And let's finish this. So this is how it is going to look like. And here if you go to application.properties, here also let it be Pakistan. Okay, I mean, that's a good name. So let this one as Pakistan. By default, this name is same as your project name. Otherwise, if you wish, you can change. So this is the one. And now we wish to add few more properties here. So let me just have a look which all things I want, and then we are going to mention here. Now the number one thing, since it is a web application, so this is going to run on port number 8080 by default. But still, I wish to mention it here. Why so? Because later on we are going to convert it to microservices, so it will be just easier for me to change the port number from here. I don't need to add any new property here. So I will, as of now, run it on port number 8080 only. Then the next thing is, since we are going to interact with the database, hence we need Spring Data Source URL. Now you will say, Abhishek, how you are getting all these automatic suggestions? Because in my IDE, I have added this GitHub Copilot. So the moment you are going to add GitHub Copilot, it will understand the context of your application and it will start providing all these suggestions. Every IDE supports that. IntelliJ also supports this, and whatever the IDE you wish, they are going to support. You just have to add it as a plugin and then connect it with your GitHub account. That's it. You don't need anything else. Okay, so guys, please create at least a GitHub account. Otherwise, how will you access my these demos? Yeah. And the database name, I wish to go for this Pakistan only, and that is going to run on my localhost 3306, that we will see later. Now since it is a database, so obviously there is going to be a username, so that's good. See, that's the benefit of using it. I don't even need to write anything. Now obviously there is going to be some password also, so let's write it as password. But the best practice is that we should not hard code the username and password in our application. So instead of doing that, what I'm going to do here is, I'm going to have it something like this as MySQL user, and then I'm going to call it as username. I'm not going to provide any default value here, and here also I'm going to just simply call it as something as MySQL, and let's call it as MySQL password. So username and password we have provided here. Now the next thing here, it is suggesting me Spring JPA Hibernate DDL auto update. Now what it says, this simply says that in case if let's say your application is connected with the database, tables are already there, so it is just going to update the tables as per your entity classes. And in case tables were not there but entity classes are available, then it is going to create the tables as per the entity classes. So that is the meaning of Hibernate DTL auto update. All the details have been already mentioned in detail in Spring Data JPA course. I'm just repeating out some things. Then I want to see the SQL statements in the console. So I'm saying here show SQL true. Otherwise now we don't even need that much, so we can even remove it. Okay, so as of now let me just simply remove it. Later on if needed we can add it on our own, or let's keep it. Yeah, I mean that's sometimes simply good to keep them. So the next one is that, okay, here it says Hibernate dialect. We basically don't need dialect because in the Spring Data JP playlist, I have very clearly mentioned you that in case if you are just having the MySQL dependency in your pom.xml, you don't need to explicitly add this MySQL dialect. So no need to add it here. So it doesn't mean that whatever the GitHub is going to suggest you, you have to use it. See, AI is your assistant. AI is not your competitor. So here, if you will start adding all the things whichever AI is going to suggest you, GitHub Copilot is going to suggest you, then there are chances it may become your competitor. But you have to use it as your assistant. Now, assistant means they can assist you with something, but final decision should be yours, whether you wish to keep the suggestion or not. So we are not interested in this particular one. So that is fine, and I believe we are ready with all these properties as of now. We don't need anything else. And then what we know is that, okay, currently here we are not having any kind of controller, so how do we test whether it is even working or not? And that is very, very important, guys. Many times we create the complete thing and then we see that, okay, we are going to test, but here let's test it step by step. So here what we are going to do, so let's go here and let's create a class and let's call it as owner controller. I mean we are basically having owner and pet only, so let's go for this owner controller and let's make it something like this. And what I will do is I will just copy this tag. So this I have already mentioned in my IDE level, so whenever I will create a new class or any other things, these will be available to me, and this I will be moving into my controller package. I mean, isn't that looks nice? You people sometimes just say that, okay, how do we decide where to keep? It is so easy. I mean, first of all you decide what you have to make, and then you can keep the things wherever you wish. So that is the controller. Now the question is that on this controller level, how to say whether it is working or not. So here we will just say something as hi hello kind of a thing, and for that particular one what I need is I first of all need one thing as rest controller. So this annotation I need. Then I also want something as at the rate request mapping, or maybe we don't need this request mapping as of now, so let's just simply say control shift O and control shift S. So why I'm not getting this? Okay, it's taking time, not an issue. So sometimes these IDs are slow and hence it can take some time also. So yeah, we are getting this. Why it is doing like this? Not an issue. The same thing, this may be some IDE issue, guys. Okay, not an issue from my side. So here we are going to make a very simple API. Okay, so here let's make something as public and let's say string get owner, and here we are going to say something as get mapping, and here let's say just something like this. Okay, we are not going to write anything here, so let's just simply say here get this, and this is how it is going to work. And here it says owner details, so instead of calling it as owner details, let's say here Pakistan works. Okay, so let's say here Pakistan works, and only one API I'm going to create. I'm not going to create all these and going to explain you each and everything step by step. Here we are just going to have a test whether this is working or not. So that, because we are working with the latest Java version, guys, we are working with the latest Spring Boot version, guys. What if there is some other issue, some other thing which I have to add? So I should be having an idea in the starting itself whether it is going to work or not. So here let me do it like this, and here let's see. So there we go, and it seems to be fine. Okay, it doesn't seems to be fine. Why it doesn't seems to be fine? It says that, okay, access denied for this user localhost and something like this, unable to isolate. Okay, because we have also provided some database connections and everything, so it says where is this username, where is this password. So for this what we have to do is we have to go back here and we are going to copy this, then we are going to move here and we are going to say open config, Then here let's move on to this particular environment, and here let's start adding. So this is going to be my username. Now my username is going to be root, and there is no issue in order to provide the details here, because these details are going to remain in my machine only, in my IDE only. So even if I will push my code, you won't be getting these things. Instead, you have to create these things on your own, otherwise it is not going to work. So username is there, password is there, it doesn't matter in which order, because it will look in the alphabetical order only. So here we will say apply, here we are going to say close. So currently it was access denied for this local host and something like this. Now let's again give it a try. So here let's see whether it is going to work or not. What are your suggestions? Will it work? What do you feel? Okay, it is not going to work. It says please set Jakarta persistence JDBC URL or hibernate dialect or something like this. Okay, that's the message, but trust me guys, that is not the actual issue. The actual issue is it says unknown database Pakistan. We have created this schema here, this database here, but in the reality it doesn't exist. So what JPA can do is it can create the tables, but at least the schema you have to create on your own. So what we will do is, for this we will go to this dbeaver, and it has opened in my another screen. So since currently this is January only, so in December and January if you are going to update, you will see this something as snowfall or this kind of an animation here. That's good. So currently here we see we are having only these schemas only. We can even refresh information schema, MySQL performance schema, and sys. We don't have that particular Pakistan. So here we want something. So what I will do is, I'm already having these scripts. These I'm going to provide as it is, as a part of my resources, src main resources. So under that I'm going to provide you all these things as it is, where I will show you in some time. So what you have to do is, from there you can copy paste these things easily. So here first of all we will say that create this database if it doesn't exist, and then I'm going to say that okay, start using this particular one. This second one command is not even needed as of now. This first command is enough. So here let's refresh. We can see Pakistan has been created here, but currently there are no tables, because tables I'm assuming that my Spring Data JPA application is going to create here. So let's go back here, and we were here. Okay, we were, what it is, what's happening. So yeah, we were here, and let's again give it a try. So there we go. So real world applications works like this only, guys. It's not that okay, you have coded one class and everything will start working fine. It doesn't works in that particular way. So yeah, here we see it is working. It is running on port number 8080 only. And now what we can do is we can go for this particular one, and here we can search for something as a local host, and just ignore all these options which you are able to see. We are going to use them later on. And here we see that okay, it says Pakistan works, which means our application is able to work. Okay, so currently this is there, but we don't want this. We want to create API, we want owner this API and that API and all these things. Now the question is, what should I do first? Should I first make the APIs, or should I first make the my backend structure like entity classes, repository, service, and then APIs? Okay, so see, now the problem is that if you will start creating all the APIs first, in those APIs also you need to accept some owner. In those APIs you have to return some owner and pet also, which means the minimum requirement is that you should be trying to create your DTO and entity first. Many people don't even create DTO, that is their own choice. But in the real world application, we do make usage of DTO classes, data transfer object classes. Okay, so first of all we are going to create the entity class, then we are going to make the DTOs. Yeah, then we are going to make the okay, first of all we will be creating the controller, then we are going to create the service, then we are going to create the repository. So that is going to be our sequence. It doesn't matter, you can go for different sequence also, whichever you understand in a better way. That's the main point, guys. Okay, it's not about me, it's about you, what you understand. I have already understood my flow, and my flow is this way only, that okay, I first create this, then I create that, then this, then that. Okay, now let's move ahead and let's start creating. So first of all, let's try to create the owner entity class. So we are going to go here and let's put it in the entity package. So here let it be like this, and here let's say this as finish, and let me just get an idea which all things I will be doing. I don't want to make unwanted mistakes here. Okay, So here we have this owner. Now let's quickly have a look which all things we want. We want first name, we want last name, we want a gender, we want city, we want state, we want mobile number, we want email ID. So around 7 fields we need, and one is for this ID. So 8 fields are required, and then it should be having one-to-one relationship with the pet. Okay, so let's start doing all that thing from here. So again, as promised, I have to do it, guys. I mean, it's not that easy. So private string, and then here let's go for this first name. And see, the point is that even after this, you will say that, okay, Abhishek, you don't explain. I mean, what else can I explain after this? I mean, now you only can tell me what extra things should be explained. Now, if you will say that, okay, you should be explaining us what is Spring Data JP also, please in microservice playlist, don't assume that I'm going to explain you what is Spring Data JP. Else, we can even start what is Java, what is main method, how to create an object. I mean, we can even start in that way if you will ask me. Okay, but I don't feel then you are going to watch this. But here the point is, okay, we are going to create a real world project from scratch, and that is your mindset. So basically the need of showing all these things step by step is, so because many times you say that, okay, you are always using reusing, where is the mindset? So here is the mindset. This is the thing which you have to do. First, imagine your requirements, start doing it. That's it. You don't want that, okay, someone has to explain you each and everything one by one. No, start thinking, start doing the mistakes one by one. Otherwise, how will the things work? If you will say no on the first go itself, I want to create Amazon, I want to create a Facebook, things don't work like that, guys. So here let's create a mobile number, then let's create something as email ID also. So let's call it as email, then let's call it as email ID. And yeah, we have this first name, last name, gender, city, state, mobile number, email ID. And we also want this one as private long, and let's just call it as ID. So let's just simply call it as ID. So even this we also having, and then it is going to have one-on-one relationship with the pet. So here let's call it as pet, and this I'm going to create soon, but as of now this is not available. So here we are having this particular pet. Okay, now after this what we want is that here in the database, like here this is looking like this first name, but in your database we generally don't keep these camel case letters and everything. Okay, so instead there I will be making usage of this column, and I'm going to call it as first name. The benefit of this GitHub Copilot is that at least it will start giving me the suggestions and I can just start using it. And I want everything required, so that's why I have to say nullable false. Yeah, the same thing let's do for the other one also, and that's good. Then let's do for this another one also. Now here this is going to be, okay, let it be like this, and let it be this. Why it says age? It is gender only. I mean, from gender you can't reveal the age. Okay, that is not possible. So okay, why it is behind this age? I mean, this is city. So you will see that, okay, AI is not always going to provide you these smart solutions. Okay, okay, now it says it is going to be a state. Then let's hope, okay, it says it is going to be a mobile number. Generally mobile numbers are unique, and that we want. Also we want another thing, that it should not be of more than length 10. So we want length as 10 only, so that also we want. And then here let it be email ID, nullable is false, unique is true. Yes, we want that particular thing. And what about this pet? So this pet is going to have one-on-one relationship, so hence we want this as one-to-one mapping. Then within this one-to-one mapping we want something as cascade type all, which means that if you are saving the owner, your pet also will be saved. If you are getting the owner, your pet also will be get. If you are deleting the owner, your pet also will be deleted automatically. Okay, so that, and here we are saying that, is it an optional pet? No, this is not an optional pet, it is one-to-one mapping, hence we are saying false here. And here we are saying that I mean, fetch type we don't have to worry, and let's say orphan removal true. Okay, so that means that later on, due to some xyz reasons, if we see there just exists a pet without an owner, so it should be deleted here, hence we are saying here orphan removal true. All these have been already explained in more details in the Spring Data JP playlist, so please have a look to that particular one. And we also need this join column. So here we are saying that in this particular one, we are going to refer it as, here we are going to call it as pet ID in the owner table in the database, but in the pet table, the same column is being referred as ID. Yeah. And then again, this can't be nullable, so this is not possible to have nulls. Let's see. Yeah, it also should be unique because it is 1 to 1. So here let's even make it as unique. So this is how it is going to look like. And what about this ID? So for this ID, let's say that this ID is going to be ID, it is nullable, and unique is true. Then beside this, I don't want to create IDs on my own. Okay, now since this is ID, it can't be nullable, and it can't be nullable. That's the default thing, so no need to explain it further. Instead, what I will be doing is I'm saying that okay, for this particular one, I'm going to make it as an ID, so that we say okay, this is going to be an ID here. There it says you have to get each and everything from this Jakarta, guys. Okay, don't get from anywhere else, fetch everything from Jakarta, and it should be automatically generated. So here we will say generated value, and by default we are going to make usage of strategy as identity. There are more strategies also, so if you go here, you will see we are having table, sequence, identity, UUID, as well as auto. If you want to learn about them, I hope you know the name of the playlist is Hibernate. So that's the one. Another thing is I don't want a gender as a string. That looks odd, so instead let it be as this gender. Okay, we will create it as an enum later on, or what I wish is that let's directly, since now this is an enum, so that is number one thing to be worried here, or we should take care of it, that since this is an enum, so here we want the annotation. There we go, and here we are going to say enumerated, and within this enumerated we are going to say that value is going to be saved as a string. So in the database, when you will see, the value will be saved as a string only. Now this gender is an enum, so let's simply create. We have two things to be created from here, gender and pet. So let's first create this gender. Why it is not showing me this option? So I will go here and I will say create enum gender. What's the issue? Okay, so there we go, and here let's call the package name as enums. I can't just simply keep it as enum, hence I have to keep it as enums. You can go for any other one also. So this is the package one, and let's simply click on finish here, guys. Okay, so this is how it is going to look like, and we don't want anything much here. The world is very simple. We will just say M and F. You will say in UI you were showing male and female. UI person can do that job. If I will just say M and F, that's very clear. M means male, F means female. Okay, so for me this is more than sufficient. So there we will go, and yeah, that is how it is going to look like. And what else? Now we wish to create this pet also, and yeah, currently this is not an entity. Okay, this is just a simple class, so let's make it as an entity class. For this we have to call it here as entity. Then beside this we have to say that in database we want a different table name. Okay, so there I wish to call it as owner underscore table. I'm using the same name because in the previous playlists also we have made usage of these things. Then I want some getter methods here, and I'm also interested in some setter methods also here. The order doesn't matter, but this is what I like. Yeah, so hence I'm keeping it. So this is what it says. It says okay, since pet is not resolvable as of now, hence it is showing the error there. So first of all you have to ensure that all these things are ready. So let's go for this pet and let's create this pet class, and yeah, it should be within entity and everything looks good. So let's go and start creating the same. And here for the pet, which all things I need, let me just quickly have a look. So for this we have to go here also, and it says for the pet, if you see, if I click here for the pet, we have a pet ID, we have a pet name, we have a pet gender, again male and female only, so we can make usage of same gender enum. So three things are there. Then we need some type also, and again if you remember, this can be used as an enum. So four things. Fifth one is the category, domestic or the wild, and then we have this date of birth or place of birth, which means again we need seven things. 7 seems to be a lucky number here. Okay, do let me know in the comments if 7 is your lucky number, because Earlier also it came to be a 7 only, I remember. Okay, if I'm not wrong. I mean, not sure why it is happening. So let's go here and let's again click, not click, it should be, let's again create the ID first. So here let's again create the ID. We want the name for this particular pet, and every pet should be having some type also. Okay, we want a type, but before type I even want some gender here. So let's say, and here we can directly make usage of same gender. That's the power of using enums here, guys. Okay, if you wish you can have different enums also, no hard and fast rule, but that's what we need. And for this pet type also, I mean, here let's make it as pet type, something like this, guys. And yeah, this is how it is going to look like. Then here you remember we want pet category, and then here we say that okay, for the wild pet we want place of birth, for the domestic pet we want what do we as date of birth and something. But here we have decided not to keep everything in a single table. Instead, the our table is going to look very bad, very ugly. So instead we are going to have three different tables: a basic pet table, then we are going to have a domestic pet table, and a wild pet table. So hence three tables are going to be there. Same thing we have to do here also. Hence in reality there is no significance of pet alone, so this can be an abstract class. Okay, a good question can be that can entity classes be abstract? It's in front of you. Entity class can be abstract in nature. Okay, something like this. Let's try to fill up all these values here. So name again is again nullable false, and here this one is looking good. And then again we have to say here column, and here let's say this. Why isn't it providing us the complete details? What happened to it? I guess it got tired, so not an issue. Okay, so if it is it got tired, so we can write with our own hands also. And the same thing what we will do is, I mean, I even have this copy pasting power. I mean, copy pasting is not a simple power, it's a very difficult power to get, guys. Okay, so if you have this power, please use it. Some developers say, some new learner says that okay, we don't like to copy paste. Copy paste is the biggest power of a developer. So here let me copy this and let me paste it here, something like this. Okay, so I have kept it here. Another few extra things which I can copy paste is I will copy this thing. Okay, it went bad, bad, bad. Okay, that looks good. Okay, something wrong happened. Okay, so copy, and let's do this, and here let's say do this, and here let's call it as a something as pet. Let's do this, and here okay, it says pet type is not available. Let's create it as a enum. Okay, I have a hack with me, and the hack says first you create a class and then slowly go here and change the name to as enum. Okay, that is my hack. What is your hack? So here which pet types are allowed? We want a bird, cat, dog, fish, rabbit. Okay, we want 5 pets here. So let's go back and let's start writing here. So we want a bird, we want a cat, we want a dog here, we want a fish here. I really don't remember why I chose these many types only. Why not any other type? Okay, but these are our types. So pet type is ready, guys, and yeah, this thing is also done. Problem is that this particular part is getting repeated again and again. Repetition is not a good thing for a Java developer. Okay, so let's do something interesting. And what interesting things we can do is let's create a new base class. Okay, so here let's go for this is class, and here let's call it as my base entity class. So here let's go here. Okay, now this base class is again going to be just an abstract class. So here let's call it as an abstract. Okay, and on this one we will just say at the rate mapped superclass. This way, this is again a type of inheritance strategy here. For this we just need a getter, because here we are just going to have id only, nothing else. For this base class you won't see a separate table in the database. Instead you will just see these values in the pet and the owner table. So let's remove it from here, let's add it here. So this is how it is going to look like. Now let's see how to use it here. So here we can say extends, and here let's call it as base only. So here let's say extends base. So now I don't need to mention the same thing here. Looks good. And here the same thing I can do here, copy, and let's go to this particular one as owner, and here let's provide the same thing. And again, I don't want all these details from here. Let's say Control Shift O, Control S, and this looks good. And here also let's say Control Shift O, Control S, this also looks good. So our pet is also ready. One issue, let's keep it in the enums as per the rules. So here let's keep it in the enums. That is how it is going to look like, and move it to there. And here let's again do a Control Shift O, and yeah, that's how it will work. Now the point is, we want a domestic pet entity, we want a wild pet entity. So let's start creating. So again, let's do, and let's go here, and there we need this one as domestic. Let's create this one, and let's create this one. And domestic pet, we don't want to call it as entity, we will just say as domestic pet. Let's come up here into this particular domestic pet. Now the point is, which all things we need for this domestic pet. So you think, and till then I will just see. So yeah, for this domestic pet we just need date of birth. So here I'm going to say private here, then I'm going to say local date here, and here I will say, we can just call it as birth date. Okay, so birth date, and here again we need this at the rate column here, and here we can say birth date, or no, here if I remember I called it as date of birth, my wish, whatever I wish I can write here. So this is how it is going to look like, guys. Now what left? Now the things left is, here also we need all these four things, and let's bring them here. Let's add it like this, and here let's call it as domestic. So this is going to be domestic underscore pet underscore table, and here let's say extends, and here let's say pet. Okay, so your domestic pet is now a child of pet. So this is how it is going to look like, guys. Okay, but do we need anything else? With this only will the inheritance work in the data JP? The answer is no. Alone with this, the inheritance is not going to work in the tables. You need one more annotation here, and that is going to be inheritance. Okay, I mean, basically what we are now trying to say is that in the database, how they are going to look. So when we say here joined, it is going to make three tables for us. Okay, again, get everything from Jakarta when in a confusion. So we have got domestic pet, and now it's the time for creating the wild pet. So here let me make a wild pet also, and here let me make this as wild pet. There we go. And here we will say birth, and here we will say birthplace, and then we will go here and we will say place of birth, and don't forget to change this one to wild pet table. So this is also ready, guys. Okay, that means our entity classes are ready, our enums are also ready here. Okay, do we want anything else here? You will say that, okay, don't we want category? No, we don't want category here. So our entities are ready, our enums are ready. Now the point is, are we going to return these entities and enums directly to the user? The answer is no. In big projects, we never return or we never accept entity from the user. Okay, entities are very spiritual thing for us. Okay, so we should never do it like this. Instead, we should be making a separate package that is going to be a DTO, and here let's make it as DTO, and this is going to look like this. Now what I do is that instead of writing all those things again and again, because see, in the DTO there will be a lot of repetition. I mean, I have to make a DTO. DTO also should contain first name, last name, gender, city, state, all these things. So instead of writing all these things one by one, if you please allow me, and if you won't say that, okay, Abhishek, that is the copy pasting clearly. So what I wish to do is I wish to copy paste. So let me just go to my another screen, and I will just copy paste the required things only as of now, and then I will explain you one by one why I have copied these many things. Okay, so these I will copy, and I'm going to bring them up here. I mean, something which is very simple, that is fine. Okay, so this is going to be my owner DTO. You can again see almost everything is same here: ID, first name, last name, gender, city, state. Here again I'm making usage of same enum only, that is allowed. Then we are saying mobile number, email ID, and pet DTO. Now here we are saying getter center, toString, and we are making usage of lombok here basically. Now here, I don't want to compare two owner DTOs on the basis of all the fields. So I'm saying compare it just on the basis of ID, mobile number, and email ID. That's it, not on the other things. Why do we have to compare it on the basis of mobile number and email ID? Because when we are going to accept the owner DTO, ID is not going to be there. Hence, we are using mobile number and email ID here. So this is how it is going to look like. So this is owner DTO and this is going to be my pet DTO. Again, ID, name, then gender, then type, and then all these things. Here we are just putting it on ID. This looks very horrible, but I will explain it bit by bit what it is. Let me first go for this domestic pet DTO. Simple, nothing much. Extends pet DTO, toString, call super, which means whatever was there in the parent, use that also as a toString. And then here we say local date, and here we say wild pet DTO. Okay, again everything simple. Let's go back here and see. So what happens is that this time from the user I will be accepting a JSON object. Now in that JSON object, how it will be clarified that okay, this is a domestic pet, that is a wild pet, or something like this. Yeah, because in the JSON, how will you say? Because you will say one owner DTO within that pet DTO, but what is going to be that pet? Either this pet can be a wild or this pet can be a domestic. It can't be just a pet because pet is an abstract class. Okay, so how it is going to initialize, how it is going to decide which one to initialize? So what I'm basically trying to say here is that in my JSON, there is going to be a type info and that value is going to be category. So in our JSONs, we are going to be have a field something as category, and on the basis of this category only we will decide whether to create a domestic pet or a wild pet. Okay, so if it is value is domestic, go and initialize a domestic pet DTO class, and if it is wild, go and initialize a wild pet DTO class. Okay, there are many more things also, but again if you want to see this in more details, you have to go and have a look towards our Spring REST playlist. Okay, so in that playlist I have mentioned all these things in detail here. So now my entity is done, now my DTO is done, my enums are also almost done, and now it's time for more controller class, more controller and service, and then the repository. So let's close them all here, and here also let me have a close. So now let's come back to this owner controller and let's see which all things we have to do. Yep, obviously there are going to be some issues as of now. So the number one thing which we need here is that first of all we want to, we wish to here get an owner. Okay, so obviously this is a get mapping, but owner on the basis of what? Owner on the basis of ID. So here let's provide it something like this, and here not this, but here we are going to say this one, and here we are going to say owner ID, and yeah, we are going to say on the basis of this. So get owner ID, and here let's start calling this method as my find owner. Now what it is going to do, it is going to accept the ID from the path variable. So here let's call it as path variable and let it be like this. I mean, first you can accept the suggestions and then make the changes on your own. So here we are going to say int of owner ID. Now what you are going to return, so we are not going to return a string, instead we are going to return a response entity. Why so? Because we have learned in Spring REST with Spring Boot playlist, guys, okay, that we should be returning the response entity. So that is the simple reason. I mean, otherwise why should I tell you the complete reason? Then you are not going to watch the playlist. Why should I do that? Okay, so this we have received. Now from where it is going to find the owner, it will be obviously taking help of the service layer. Okay, so let's assume I'm having some service layer and that is going to look as owner service. So here let's say owner service, and there I'm having some method as find owner, and this is going to look like this. And let's assume, okay, I mean currently it's not there, it's just my assumption. Okay, my imagination is good here. So here let's say owner DTO, owner service, STS is not able to imagine that, but I'm able to imagine. And here, this is the one, and here we are going to say response entity. I don't like it in this way just by saying okay. Instead, I like in the another way. I would say here status, then I will stay here something like this. Then I'm going to say here HTTP status, and then I'm going to say here okay. Then I'm going to say here a body, and within this body, I'm going to provide this owner DTO. So something like this we are going to provide, say control shift O, and HTTP, this should be status, HTTP status. Okay, so let's say control shift O, and this one looks nice to us. Okay, just ignore, you feel this is a code, this is not a code, this is a suggestion. The IDE got stuck with our imagination. We will bring it into the work again. So before this, here currently, you remember that we just said slash earlier and it gave us an response, but maybe we need to go for multiple controllers also. So as a good practice, here on the controller level, we will decide that if in my URL it is going to start with the owners, then only it should come here. Okay, so this I'm going to mention it here. Then let's start making this one owner service. So there we go for the owner service. Now here, you remember we have to auto-wire it, but instead of simply saying @auto-wire annotation, I'm having Lombok. So I will be making usage of it, and I will be saying here required args constructor. So we are going to say something like this, required arg constructor. But then for this particular one, we need this owner service. So let's make it as an interface only as of now. And here we are going to keep it inside our service package. Okay, so this way you can decide how many packages to create. No one is going to tell you explicitly that you have to create this package or that package. You have to create these things on your own. And here, let's add this method here. So this is going to look like this. So our find owner method is ready here, guys. Okay, now what else I have to do? So once my find owner method is ready, now let's go to the service. First we will just make this, and then rest, I guess you will allow me to do some amount of copy pasting also. Okay, so we will do this, and now let's create the class for it, and the class name is going to be owner. Then it is going to be service. Otherwise you will get bored with my video, guys. Okay, I don't want you to get bored. So that's why I think of you only. Otherwise, I don't have any issue. Just imagine when I made all these demos, then also I must have coded on my own only for the first time. These codes were not provided by someone automatically. Yeah. So this is how it is going to look like, the owner service IMPL. Now, if here we were having these many annotations, here also there must be some annotations on this level. So let's see which all annotations are required here. Okay, so just to have a look in which sequence I wish to write, because I wish to write in that same sequence only. So otherwise not an issue. So here we will say it's a service class, so @ service, so that bean is available. Again, I will be having a dependency on the repository layer. So again, I'm going to say here requires a constructor. So I'm going to say it like this, and then here I'm going to say it as private, and here we will say something as final. We are going to say something as owner, and let's call it as owner repository. This is going to look like this. And now what I wish to do here, so currently what I wish to do here is that here I wish to get it from this owner repository. So here I will be saying owner repository. I may not want this much big code, or as of now let it be, I want this code. Okay, we'll see what do we have here, but currently this looks very odd. That's too big. So let's go. Now let's create this interface something as this, and here let's go as repository. So this is going to look like repository. Okay, so now we have this owner repository, and here the magic is going to happen. So that is the magic, guys. Our repository is ready. So public interface. Okay, this is not implements, this is extends. Relation between two interfaces is extends. So GPA repository, control shift O, and yeah, that is the magic. Our owner repository is ready. I wish everything can be equivalent to owner repository only. It saves a lot of coding, but that is not possible as of now. Currently, we have to do some job as a Java developer. Okay, that looks good, and it is throwing some kind of exception also. Okay, we didn't remember about this exception. Some exceptions can occur, so let's create a custom exception also here. Okay, now see, in the real world things work like this, guys. Okay, I mean, things come in front of you and then you decide which thing is required. So here we are going to say owner not found exception, something like this, something like this, and then here let's say extends, and then let's say exception, and let's click on tab and I will get all the benefits automatically. Let's add a default serial version UID. Why do we need this serial version UID? Have you ever thought? I have made a separate single video on this. The name of this video is serializable, so you can check that video. Why do we need it here? Okay, but that's what we received here. Does everything looks like? I don't want owner service IMPL in the same package, so I will just call it as IMPL here, guys, and then I'm going to move it to that package, and yeah, this is how it is going to look like. Okay, that looks good. Now what it says import this. Okay, we will import, not an issue. Then what it says now, the next thing is that, okay, currently here what are we doing? So when we are going to say find by ID here, okay, so this find by ID is going to provide us an optional of owner. Okay, so this is going to provide an optional of owner, but we can't return it as it is, so we are going to convert it to an owner DTO. Now the point is, if you wish to convert it to an owner DTO, you have to do all these things, but we don't have all this builder and everything. So the other way is that, okay, we have to make usage of the setter methods and everything. I don't want to even make usage of it. So now is the time we should be adding the MapStruct here. Okay, so for this what we will do is we will go here, and here we will come, and there is the need. I mean, otherwise if you don't want a MapStruct, you can add the things on your own, but I don't want to do that much of coding on my own. I mean, earlier I used to do, now I don't wish to do all that stuff here. So let me just see that which version we should do. Otherwise we can just go here MapStruct, and we should be using the latest version. So let's go for this as 163, and here I don't want this comment, so I will do it in this particular way. Let's copy it and let's come back to our one, and then here let's go to our pom.xml, and then we come here. Then I'm going to paste it like this, and here it's not a good practice to write the versions here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say here MapStruct. Now let's see, will it provide me? Okay, MapStruct 163, and no, final word was not there. Why you are fooling me? So final word was not there, so it says MapStruct thing. And here what we can do is we can say a dollar symbol, then we can say this version, and here we are going to say MapStruct dot version. Why it has stopped giving us suggestions? So let's say Control A, Control Shift F, and this looks nice. So we have added a MapStruct version here. The benefit of this MapStruct is it will help us to do the, I mean, what do we say this? What do you call? We call it as mapping. Okay, I forget words in between. So we go back, and here we want something more also. When you are using MapStruct with Lombok, you need this Lombok MapStruct binding dependency. So this is also needed. So let's again copy the same, and let's go back here, and let's add it like this. And here what I want is, again, let's write it here. So here we are going to say, let's call it as Lombok MapStruct, and this is the time where I wish to do a copy paste part. Okay, so I don't want to write this. I mean, there is no benefit of writing. I've already told you that we need this. So if we need that, that means we have to add it. So let's add it. But what do we need is, basically, we are not going to add it here. Okay, that is not the place. The place is very interesting. So here the rule says that we should be adding this MapStruct version and this binding actually under this compiler plugin. Okay, So in this one, we have to mention these things like this: MapStruct version and the Lombok MapStruct binding version. So this, let me just have a look. Do we need anything else also? No, we don't need anything else. This looks great. Okay, so this looks great now. So yeah, that is how it is going to look like. All the versions are ready, and this time, since we have added all these things many times, it doesn't get updated. So let's do a quick update. I believe that it should be doing on its own. Otherwise, sometimes IDE is unable to do all these things when you try to add these dependencies in middle. So hence I have just done a quick update here. Now the point is that, okay, we want it to be generating. So let's create, and for this we will go here. Let's create it as we just need an interface. Let's call it as owner mapper. Okay, so we want this owner mapper, and we don't want it here. Let's move it to our util package. So here we will say util, and here we are going to call it like this. So that is our package. Now in this particular interface, how we should write? So first of all, I want to use, this is an interface. I wish to auto wire it in my service also. So for that particular auto wiring thing, here you have to say mapper, and here you have to say component model spring, and then you have to say here something as, okay, instead of this particular one, instead of writing this word, there is another way which I was using, and yeah, that is mapping, not mapper. Why it's giving me wrong suggestions? It should be mapping constants, and I hope my mic is working. Yeah, it is working. Okay, so mapping constants component model spring, this we need here basically. Next, what we need, so here we want to do the conversion. So what we will be getting currently is that from the database we will be getting an owner, and we wish to convert it to the owner. So here I no, we have to return the owner DTO. So here we have to say owner DTO, and here I'm going to say owner, then I'm going to say to owner DTO, and something like this. So here I'm saying that whenever I will be getting an owner, convert it to the owner DTO. So that's good. But then, okay, let's see how it is going to look like. So we will go, and what do we see here is that you will see now something as target generated sources annotations. You can go within this, then you can go within this, then you will see owner mapper impl here. Now here the point is that for this owner DTO, we are going to set the city, email ID, first name, gender, last name, mobile number, state, and ID also is going to be set from it. But the point is, it is not going to provide you the pet. Why it is not providing the pet? Because how it will come to know that it has to convert that pet? Okay, so for that we have to do some more interesting things. So here let's say mapping here, and here let's say that whenever you get some source as let's say a pet here, so whenever you get the source as a pet, then you move on to a target, and your target should be a pet DTO. So here let's call it as pet DTO, and all this should be in capital. Why? From where I'm getting these words? So these words are basically here. If you see in the owner, I'm having something as pet. So I'm saying convert this pet to this owner DTO and to this pet DTO. So this is how I'm getting all those naming conventions. Okay, so this I'm getting, and here you have to get everything from the MapStruct only. Yeah, so this we got. Now the thing is, will it do the magic? So again save, and let's again have a look. So it says, okay, I will do the magic. It says, okay, now I will convert pet to a pet DTO also, and what it will do, it will set the gender, name, type, and the ID. What about date of birth and place of birth? Okay, it is still not going to do that. So what we will do is we are going to copy this particular thing from here. Yeah, so let's copy it here. Now I will show you even more magical things. Here we are going to make it as default. Okay, because it is going to have a body. Otherwise, how can I make a concrete method in my interface? So if someone asks you, have you ever actually needed to make a default method in interface? This is the need, guys. Okay, so yeah, this is the need. Now what we want to do is we want to say that there is a pet. It can be of, if it is of type domestic, convert it to a domestic pet DTO. If it is of type wild, convert it to a wild pet DTO. Otherwise you can throw an error. So instead of writing each and everything, I mean, that's too much writing. I can't write that much as a good practice. And here let me do it like this. Okay, that looks good. So what I'm saying you will be getting a pet. Now if that pet is of type domestic pet, then here you make usage of this domestic pet to domestic pet DTO. Where is the implementation? Implementation is again generated there. If it is wild pet, convert it to a wild pet DTO, implementation generated there. Otherwise throw this kind of an exception, and this is nothing but, I mean, just a good exceptions which I created. So let me just again copy, and what I will be doing is I'm going to paste it here, guys. Okay, this is how it is going to look like. So this one seems interesting here. Now let's go back to our service IMPL, and it's time to make those changes here, guys. Okay, so let's start making those changes. So here this time we say map, so I will be getting this owner, and okay, here I need this owner mapper also. So below this repository here I can say private, then I can say here final, then I'm going to say here owner, then owner mapper, and say control shift O. So this is the owner mapper. Then here we don't want anything like this, we will say owner mapper, and it is picking the wrong name. So here the owner mapper should be owner to owner DTO, something like this. So this way we can convert this owner to owner DTO. What it says, okay, yeah, it should be doing that part for us. Then it says or is throw, and it is going to throw the exception. Let's save it, and it's working fine. It says me something that okay, you can make usage of this method reference. So yeah, here we are going to make usage of this reference. It looks nice. And you remember we don't want to throw this one. Instead we are going to say here owner not found. So here let's say owner not found exception. So here let's say something like this. And since this is a checked exception, so hence let's move it like this, add throws. And since it's a checked exception here, so in the here also we have to say, so here let's again go and say okay, add it to this one also. So this one looks good, this one looks good. And I don't want to read the message from here. Okay, instead of getting the message from here, what I want is that okay, message should be available in my messages.properties file. So let's simply create it. So here let's create this one, and here we are going to say messages, and then say properties, messages.properties. So there we go. And what I will do is I will just quickly copy the one. So I will say it like this, I'm going to say like this, and I'm going to say like this, owner not found. Then afterwards what we are going to do, we are going to come back to this owner service, and here we have to mention that particular variable, else how we are going to make usage of it. Yeah, so again this part let me copy paste. Okay, I can make usage of @ value here. Yeah, I hope you are getting my point. So this time I will say owner not found. It will read from that properties file, and it is going to replace it here. So this is the one, and this one is actually from the Spring framework value, not the Lombok value. So we don't need to hard code it like this. Yeah, and instead here we are going to say string, and then here we are going to say format. Here we are going to say owner not found comma owner ID. So automatically in my message it is going to replace the owner ID. Why owner ID? Because it will say can't find owner with owner ID 1 2 10 or whatever you are going to provide, that it is going to work. How it will read from this messages.properties file, we haven't ever thought about this. So let's go back here, and let's add here something as, I guess, property source. So here let's say property source, this is the one. Let's say control shift O. It is providing me again suggestions. So class path messages.properties. So this is the way to read from it. Okay, so let's see, is it ready? So this seems to be ready enough, fair enough, nothing issue. And there is some issue in this owner controller, and here it says that okay, you said it can throw the error. So yeah, it can. So let's add it here also in the declaration, add throws owner not found exception. But if it will throw like this, these may not be the good exceptions. Okay, or let it be like this. Okay, first of all, let's see whether it is even going to work or not. Okay, so let's go and let's execute. And before this, have a quick check. Here in the database we currently don't have tables. Okay, because now is the first time we have done so many things and we are going to make a check. So let's see, what do you feel, will the things work or not? And this is just one API, guys. We have to make 5 more APIs, so hope you will allow me to do a bit of copy pasting now. Okay, so it has created all these tables and everything. Okay, and it seems good. So let's go here, let's click on this clear, and here let's go for this particular one. Let's make a refresh here, and now we see all these tables. So here we have this owner table in front of us with all these values. Okay, and what I can do is I can make usage of this query now, and here in this query we can see the output. Currently everything is empty. Where is the data? So let's directly add some data. I will be providing you these things automatically. So here, this is what you have to do. First, there is going to be a pet table. So execute this query. This is going to fill the pet table. Then you can go for this domestic pet table. So go here on this domestic pet table, execute this query, then go on for this wild pet table, go on and click on this query, and then it says incorrect date value, national park for column birth. Why date it is saying? So it says place of birth at this. No, there is no place of birth. Incorrect date value, Jim Corbett National Park. Wild pet, place of birth. Okay, in our wild pet table we were accepting place of birth only. What was the issue? Let's see, let's go back here. What is the issue in this wild pet table? Have we made a mistake? No, it says I wish to go for place of birth and ID only. So why is it willing to go for this? It says incorrect date value. Why? For the column place of, okay, let's go. I feel we have made a mistake here, guys. And let's go to this wildpad DTO. Here it is string. Let's go to this wildpad, and this is our mistake. That's the mistake when you do copy pasting. It has to be a string. Okay, let's execute it again. I believe it should be making the change because I'm making usage of auto detail update. Let's see will it do or not. So see, it has automatically made the change. That's the benefit of using update there. Okay, so let's go back here and let's again try to insert this, and let's see. Okay, this time this insert worked. Let's go back to our owner table, and here let's again try to make an insert, and this also works. Let's come back here, and now let's execute this query. So what I'm basically doing in this query, I'm just joining all these 4 tables, and when I join all these 4 tables, it should be like this, and you see here it is showing the data. For the initial pets from 1 to 36, place of birth is null, and for rest the date of birth is null. But this way I'm getting all my 72 pets. Okay, this is working. Now let's see the data here also. So for this I will go for the Postman. Let's go here, and what I will do is I will first create a collection. So here let's create a new, let's create this HTTP request, and here let's say HTTP :/, then here let's say localhost :8080, and then here let's say owners, and let's say 1. Okay, and here let's click on this, and let's hope, yeah, we are getting the ID, we are getting the output. So we are getting city, we are getting email ID, we are getting first name, gender, we are having ID, last name, mobile number, pet DTO, state, and all these things. Are we getting really all these things? Let's think step by step. ID we got, first name, then we got this last name also here, then we got gender also here, then we got city, we got state, and we got this email ID, and this one mobile number also we got. For the pet DTO, we got the category, we got ID, we got name, type, gender, and birth date. And now let's search for this as 72. Let's click on this, and here we got a wild pet, and for this wild pet, birth of place is mandatory. So this means things are working for us. Now since we are clear that things are working, so what we'll do is let's save it. So here we will say find by owner ID. So let's save it like this, find by owner ID, and let's save it, and let's save it to a collection. So since this is a part of my demo 1, so I'm going to just call it as demo 1, or I'm going to call it as step 1, step 01. When you will see the same thing in the GitHub, so there also you will see for code also I'm making usage of step 1, step 2 and all these things. So I'm just saving it like this. And don't worry that why we are not getting everything in the ordered way. Okay, it doesn't matter, because who is going to use it? Someone in the front end. Someone in the front end, they just need that all the variables are there. It doesn't matter whether id is mentioned in between, city is mentioned on the top or something like this. Okay, that doesn't matter, but this is how it is going to work. And let's see something as 74, and then for this 74 we are getting some odd error here. It says internal server error and like this. We were hoping for this owner not found exception. Let's see how it looks like in our console. So there we go, and in our console it says can't find owner with owner id 74. But then what's the benefit if you are not providing me the same exception there? Okay, the reason is because in your owner controller you are simply throwing the exception like this, and that is fine. But beside this, you should be also writing a advice for your controller. Okay, so for this, if the controller, if I wish to write an advice, so let's see how it is going to look like. So what I'm going to do is, let's create a new class, and here let's call it as exception, and let's call it as controller, let's call it as an advice. So exception controller advice, and let's put it in a different package of controller advice, something like this. And yeah, within this, here we are going to make the changes. Now on the class level, this is very important guys, on the class level here you have to say rest controller advice. So on the controller you say rest controller, here you say rest controller advice. Then afterwards here you say exception handler. Okay, so here you say exception handler, that this method is going to handle the exception. Now how the method is going to look like? Public. Then again, as per our rules, we wish to return the response entities, so we are going to say response entity, and here we will say, let's give it a better name, so handle not found exception. And it says I can handle all the exceptions, but no, we just want you to throw owner not found exception, or handle only owner not found exception. So here we will say owner not found exception, something like this. Yeah, and then here this time it is going to give the message, and let's save it, and let's do something like this. Let's execute it very quickly, and this time let's hope we are getting the right answer. Okay, and till then let me see how long this video is by now. So it's already 1 hour and 19 minutes, so that means we have to hurry up a bit, otherwise it is going to become even very long. So it says something like this, but I now want it in the JSON format only, I don't want in this format. Okay, so if you want it in the JSON format, then what all things you have to do? So that means we have to not return it as a string. Instead what we will do is we will return it as an error DTO, something like this. But where is this error DTO? We have to make, guys, I mean, nothing is available here automatically. In error DTO, I don't wish to do anything much, so I just want to set the values, and values will be set only once, so we can make usage of records directly. Let's go for it. Okay, and here I wish to keep it inside my DTO, something like this. Let's click on finish, and yeah, this is how it is going to look like. Now what all things do I need in my error DTO? Let me just quickly copy from here and let me paste it here. So this is how it is going to look like. Let me say this. So what I'm providing a message, an HTTP status, the integer status, and the local date time, at what date and time it happened. So all these details I'm providing it to this. Okay, so this, now when we are providing all these things here, here also we have to create the object of error DTO. Okay, for this also let me just quickly do a copy paste. I mean, why do you want me to make it on my own when I can just do a quick copy paste? Because I will explain you what I'm doing. And here it says I should be calling it as an exception. That's fine, let's do. So what I'm doing, from this exception I will be getting message which I'm passing as it is. Status I'm saying not found, so that's the benefit of making your own error DTOs. And in the value I will say whatever is the value of not found, pass it. And in the time, provide current date and time. Sometimes it's very good in the production level. And here this is how it is going to look like. But now what it will do is this is only going to handle owner not found exception in a pretty way. What if any other exception occurs? In that case also you want a good messages. Okay, so in that case my advice is that you should be adding two more at minimum. Okay, and those two more are going to look something like this, guys, which I'm copy pasting here directly. First one is method not allowed exception. For example, this was a get method, but someone makes usage of patch, delete, or put. So in that case also, you will be getting this exception, method not allowed exception. It will be handled by this one. In case if there is any other generic exception, then it will be handled by this internal server error, and you will be getting the complete thing. Yeah. Otherwise, you will be getting that same generic message. So now let's again have a look how it works. And now this controller advice is going to work for all the controllers. In controller, we have not mentioned anywhere that, okay, this controller advice is belongs to you or something like that. Okay. So let's go back here and let's again click. And yeah, this time you see we are getting a beautiful message. Message is this, error is this, status is this, timestamp is this. So I'm recording this video on 2nd of January 2026. Hence, this is the latest video only. Yeah. So this one works for you. Now the next part is that, okay, our get API is almost ready. Everything is working here. Now the time is that we have to make a save API, we have to make a patch API, we have to make an API to provide us a list, and we also have to make a delete API. We also have to make a stats API. Okay. Now is the time that we are going to make the process bit faster. Now I'm not going to write each and everything step by step. Otherwise, it is going to be copy paste mostly. Instead, what I will be doing is I will be copying the things from my another screen, that is this screen, and then I will be explaining you what extra I'm doing there. So this is how we are going to make the changes. So for this, first of all, we will go to our owner controller, and in this owner controller, let me show you the magic here. So let me just quickly copy all of them in one single go, and I'm going to provide them here. Okay. Don't feel that, okay, Abhishek, you should be explaining this also. If you want that much explanation, please visit Spring Rest with Spring Boot. Okay. Otherwise, already I have explained too many things. And here we want pageable, so let it be like this. And here let's click on finish. Okay, I guess I have made some mistake here. So never finish things that quickly. Okay. And here it says there was some error in the page. So get everything from the Spring framework, guys. Okay. So this is how it is going to look like. So let's see what basically what I've done. So first of all, I have made something as post mapping because I want to save the owner. In the request body, I'm getting the owner DTO. I'm invoking the save owner method. Now, where is the save owner method? We don't have that. Okay. So for this, we have to go to our this owner service, and here we have to create a save owner. So for this also, let me just quickly do some copy pasting. So I will go here and I'm going to do this as copy pasting, and yeah, this is how it is going to look like. Okay, same save owner is there, find owner, update pet details, delete, and this page. So let's do Control Shift O, and again get this pageable from this one, and this page also get everything from this Spring framework. Okay, so that's how it is going to look like. So now what we have done, this is going to save owner, and here we are going to return the status as created, and we are just going to return the owner ID. If you wish, you can return more things also. I just wish to return that. Then here we see we want to update the pet details. For updating the pet details, since it is only one variable, not the complete thing, so we call it as patch mapping instead of put mapping. Why so? You can again watch Spring Rest with Spring Boot. Then here we are going to provide owner ID as a part of my path variable, but in the body I will be saying update pet detail. It's not a good practice that you provide the data which you want to update also in your URLs also. So we are making this update pet DTO. So that means I should be making one more DTO here. So there it goes, update pet DTO. Okay, since I just wanted a name here, so I just made it as a record. Simple. Okay, now this means that in your real world application, it doesn't mean that, okay, whatever is going to be entity same has to be DTO, entity, and something like this. Entity basically means whatever is related against your tables in the database. DTO something means what you are going to accept from the user and what you are going to return to the user. So from the user here, we are just accepting a name. So we are using update pet DTO. Imagine you say, no, I don't want to go with these DTO models. Then which option do you have? you are going to accept the complete pet object from the user. And there you have to say that, okay, don't provide id, don't provide gender, don't provide other things, just provide me name. That looks odd. So this is the best practice, guys, and that's why the companies make usage of DTOs. Okay, this. Now from this DTO, I'm just getting the name. This is how the records are going to work, and we are going to invoke the update pet details. What we are going to return? Nothing, just a void. Then we are having delete owner. Here we are accepting owner ID only. We are deleting the owner, and it's a delete mapping. And then this one is my find all owners. Okay, so for find all owners, what we are going to do here, we are going to say find all owners. What it says, it says there is some pageable, there must be, okay, here I'm getting this pageable and page from this only. In the service, what I'm doing, okay, here I'm taking a wrong pageable, so let me remove this one. Let me go here, and okay, it says I have reached my plan. No worries, if I have reached my plan, that's not an issue, because when you start working, obviously you are going to reach the plan. You have to use this pageable. We have now the copy paste power. Whatever I have to show, I have already shown you. Now the copy paste time comes. Okay, so this is the one, and see, I was on the free version, so free version has some limits, okay, of GitHub Copilot. So that's why don't trust on AI too much. Okay, if you will say no, I will always use AI, you have to spend money. AI is not going to come for free. If you wish to use AI, start spending the money. How will you spend the money? By earning. How will you earn? By getting a job. In job, what you will do? Coding. So that's why you have to learn the coding. As simple as that. Simple. Okay, so we got this thing, and this is going to return us pages automatically. That's an automatic feature. Again, details I have covered in Spring REST with Spring Boot series. So we are getting all these APIs, and then in the service layer, we are having this. We are having all the 5 methods, but in the owner service IMPL, we are not having that much implementation here. So if we don't have the implementation, then I feel I have to make usage of my magic, and my magic is going to be something like this, guys. Okay, so let me do like this, and let me do it here, this magic, and this is going to look like this. And let's remove these 2 extra lines. Let's say this. So this is going to be my save owner. What I'm doing, I'm getting an owner DTO, and now first of all I have to convert it to the owner with the help of owner mapper. We haven't made this method. We have to make this method then first. So let's go back quickly here in the owner mapper, and here we have to add a method which converts from DTO to owner. Okay, now again, when we are going to do the same thing from DTO to owner, again the same issues will come, that how will you map a pet DTO to pet. So the same issues are going to come. So let's have a quick copy paste from there. So here let me copy this particular part. So this is going to look like this, and here let me paste it like this. Okay, so same rules. I'm converting from DTO to owner, but then how to convert pet DTO to pet? For this, I will be saying convert a DTO to pet. Then it will again not, again it will get confused that, okay, how will I convert a domestic pet DTO to this or that one to that? For this, again, I'm making usage of this default method, and then again, I'm making usage of all these 2 different methods. So these first 4 methods are for converting DTO to entity, and the next 4 methods from entity to DTO. Almost same. You don't have to do anything much. MapStruct will do the job for you. Now owner mapper seems to be ready, and then what we are going to do, so here we are going to say owner, we are going to save it, automatic method, and we are going to return the ID, which is just an integer. So here we are saying this has to be an integer, and I guess we have made it as a long. So what can be done? So for this, if you see, everywhere we made it as an integer. So okay, let's make it as an integer. Okay, I don't wish to make it as long. Let's see which error we are going to get in our database and how we are going to resolve that. But that's a mistake which we did, not an issue. Fine. So this method is ready, and then next the time is for the update method. So for this update method, let's again have a look how it is going to look like. So let me again copy the things till here, and I'm going to put it till here, and then I'm going to say this. So this is my update pet details. What I'm doing, I'm finding by ID, If it is not available, we are throwing the exception, same exception like the previous one. As if found, we are setting the name and we are setting it back to the repository. This is how it is going to work. Nothing much here. Okay. Then the next one is deleting the owner, guys. Okay. Deletion is even more simpler. Okay. So this is how your deletion looks like. So again, in the deletion, here we are saying find by ID. If not found, throw the exception. Otherwise, delete by that ID. You will say that, okay, why do you have to find? You could have just said exist by ID. If exist, then delete, and if not exist, then simply throw the error. Because I have to do something more also here. That's why I'm doing. So just bear with me. I will just explain you in coming few minutes. And last but not the least, the pageable, most difficult method. Okay. Do you remember pageable was so difficult? And this is how it is going to look like, guys. Okay. Let's say Control Shift O, and this has to be from this pageable domain, and it has to be from this domain, and yeah, that's all. So you are accepting the pageable, you are passing it to find all, and that's it. Where is this find all method? Interesting part, you don't have to make. Your owner repository is still empty only. So JP repository by default supports pageable. So just pass it, it will start providing you the pages. Now again, for each and every owner, you are converting it to owner DTO, and that's it. No hard and fast rule, simple. So you will be getting everything as paginated. Okay, let's say Control Shift O, and this is how it is going to work. I believe we are again ready with most of the things here. Let's give it a spin. So let's again go back here and let's see whether it work or not. We have also converted it from integer, from long to integer. I mean, just see whether will it give us any error or not. I don't think so it will give us any error here. And will this work? Let's see. So yeah, everything looks great, things are working, nothing much. So let's go back here, and I remember I gave a name to it. I say find by ID. Okay, I remember I gave this name and I said find by ID. So let's save it, run this. It again throws the arrow, that's fine. And let's try to go for something as 10, and let's click on this, and it says in play everything again looks good. And what I will do is I'm going to copy this, I'm going to save it, and I'm going to duplicate this one, and then here I'm going to say save. And here this time when I'm just saving, I don't need to pass any arguments here. Here I will go to the body part. Here I will go to this, I will say here raw, I will keep it as JSON. Here I will say this. Now while passing, I don't need to pass the ID, so let's remove this ID from here. Let's remove this detail from here. The city is going to be new of Chandigarh here. This, what kind of person I am writing wrong spellings. Seems my English is very bad. Okay. Then first name we were trying to add Maria here, so let's add Maria here. And here let's just say Maria, and gender female, Rodriguez. Okay, let it be Rodriguez. And in the mobile number has to be unique, so let's give some unique mobile number. I feel we have till 72, so let's make it as 99 here. And in the previous example, I remember in the previous video there I wrote Verma, so let me use that one here. Okay, then here date of birth, let it be this, and there I remember I wrote it as Costco. So Costco or Costco or Costco, maybe something like this, and it used to be a bird. Which example I'm talking about? I'm talking about the previous video, guys, where I shown you the complete UI. Okay, and where is New Chandigarh? New Chandigarh is in Punjab. So why? What's maybe there is some issue with the first letter. That's why it is not working. Okay, so let's try to do this, and let's see what happens. This was not the expectation, guys. Okay, so because it's a post mapping, so this is how it works. So see, it says 73 is there, 73 is done. Now let's have a look here whether 73 everything got saved or not. So let's come here to 73, and we see city is fine, email, first name, gender, ID, last name, mobile number, category, birthday, gender, ID, name, type, state, good. So everything works here, and the name is Costco. Let's update the name here. Okay, so we will be duplicating this, and let's go back here, and here we are going to provide id as 73, and here we are going to say patch, here we are going to say body, and here we are going to remove this, and here we just need a name. Okay, so let's remove everything, and here also let's remove everything, and just remember here the name is Costco. Okay, so from Costco let's change it to something completely different as Mithu. Some issue with this first letter. Okay, I'm still not getting, maybe I'm unable to press the shift key, but was the variable name as name only? Let me just verify, because I feel, I mean, it's just my feeling. Okay, it's name. My feeling is not right here, so let's click on send, and yeah, it says 200. Okay, and it has to be void only. Yeah, and this one has to be an update query, and now let's again go for it. Earlier it was Costco, now let's do, and it says Mido. Okay, that means it has been updated. Let's move on with the next one. So let's duplicate it, and this time it has to be delete by id. So let's go for this delete, and here let's say just say delete, and let's click on this, and yeah, it says 200. Okay, nothing much. Let's go and try to find by 73. So yeah, it says owner not found. So all our 4 APIs are working fine. And this last but not the least, so let's say here this, and here let's bring it down, and here let's say something more interesting. Let's say find all owners, and here we don't need to provide this. We can just say owners, and this is how it works. And here let's click on this send, and here you will see we are getting the paginated content. By default the page size is going to be 20, so here you will see only 20 owners here. So here we scroll down, here you see size is 20, sort, and all these elements. Total elements are 72. Since per page it is 20, so we are getting 20 these many things. I can try out this one, and then I believe there was some, I guess I have forgotten. So maybe in the next video I will show you. I forget that complete sequence, or you can tell me in the comments what was it, but no need to waste the time. You can check in my Spring REST video also. So main things are done. If we just compare with this one quickly, so here this part is done, this part is done, updating is done, deletion is done, view pet stats, this part is remaining. So let's move on with this next and part of viewing the pet stats here. Okay, so for this we will come here, and what we will do is this one I'm not going to make within the owner controller, instead I'm going to make within the pet controller, because now I don't have to do anything with the owners. So hence I'm going to call it as a pet controller. So this is the one. Now comes the copy pasting time. So let's copy this, let's paste it here, and here let's hope the base URL is going to be pets, something like this. Let's again go back here, let's copy this particular one, and let's paste it here, something like this. And this time let's hope that it should be a pet service, and here also let's call it as pet service, Control Shift O. And here what kind of API we need to get the pet states? It has to be a get API only. So if it has to be a get API, so let's copy this one, and I hope the job of this class is done. So let's come back here. So this is the one, and here we will be making usage of this pet service. And in the pet service, okay, so first of all let me just quickly check which names I was using. Okay, I will again make a direct copy paste instead of writing one by one, and let's do this. Okay, so here this time I don't want any input, I just want to return the statistics in some DTO. So I will be calling it as pet statistics DTO. How it is going to look like is I will be creating a class pet statistics DTO, and this class has to be within my this DTO only, and here let's write it like this. Okay, DTO. So as of now let it be an empty, we'll see what all things we need. But first let's go to a pet service and let's create this method. So here this is our pet service, so let's create the interface first, and here if this is the interface, so let's put it within the service. So this is going to look like this, and here if this is the one, let's create this method also. So this is how the method is going to look like. Get statistics, a very simple method, nothing much. And here this controller part is done. Now the part left is the service implementation. So here we will go and let's create. So here we will say pet, here we will say service, here we will say impl pet service impl, and here we are going to say implements. So here we are going to say implements, here we are going to say pet service. So this comes my pet service, again control shift O. And what we need, let's add the unimplemented method. So this is how it is going to look like. And again, here also we need some of the annotations and everything. So let's do a quick copy pasting. So here let's do a copy and paste it like this, control shift O, and do something like this. And in the repository also we need, so let's move here, let's do it like this, let's say this, let's say this, and let's create a repository. Okay, and this repository has to be within the, repository has to be within the repository package only. So here we will say repository like this. And then since this is an interface, so let's say here extends, let's say here jpa. Now you see I have to write everything. Now it is not providing me those suggestions. So here let's say pet, here we have to be an integer, and yeah, I believe that's what I need. This is the one, and yeah, that is how it is going to look like, guys. Yeah, so let me just close all others. So this we need, but the point is we need to return this pet statistics DTO. Okay, so what I can do currently is I can do a very simple trick. Since I need to return this, I will make it like this, and here I'm going to call it as pet statistics and then DTO. Okay, you will say, okay Abhishek, you have done a very good job here. I just created a dummy thing and I'm returning it, but that's how things don't work in the real life. So let's start working more. So here we will say this, and here let's assume this time there is no direct method in JPA repository which it can give us. So we have to do our own hard work. Okay, statistics. So something like this, something like this, something like this. Let's go on and create this method. So create a method, and yeah, this is how it is going to work. But it can't be a void method, it has to return us something. Okay, so what it will return us, so here what I will do is this is going to return me a list of object array. Okay, here we just want some data, so hence I'm making usage of this one. And here let's start writing our query. Okay, so this query I will write one by one so that you can get an idea, and then again rest other things I will start copy pasting. Okay, this query is going to be big, so let's make usage of string text. So it is going to look like this. Now what I'll I basically want a total count, but that I can add things one by one. Basically I need that if there is a pet, so let's go here and see how it looks like. So basically what I want is, if there is a pet, I want to know if it is a part of domestic pet or a wild. If it is domestic, whether it's a male or a female. If it is a male, whether it's a bird, cat, dog, fish, and rabbit. So basically I want the category, I want the gender, and I want the type, and I want the count. So all these things I want. Okay, so let's go and check out here how to get all these things. So first we are going to say here select, and then here we want gender. So here let's say select from, and let's say pet p. Okay, so this is your jpql, or you can say hql, so you can directly make usage of these tables. Okay, and then we are going to say here group by, and then here we are going to say group by gender. So p dot gender group by p dot type. So this type also you can group, and here we will say this, and then both the things we want in the output also. So here we will say here something as p dot gender, and then we are going to say here p dot type, and for this we also want a count for that particular thing, count, and then we want p. Okay, looks great. We want gender, type, and count p. How we will get domestic and the wild, because this is just pet. Okay, for that one we have to write a case. Okay, so and with that case we also have to do a grouping by. So let's do, so here we will do a case, and this is how my case is going to end nicely. Within this I have to write it like this. We will say when this type of p, so whenever this type of p is going to be a domestic pet, so if this is going to be a domestic pet, then you return me it as domestic. Okay, so this is your choice how you wish to return. I wish to call it in capital letters. And when this type is going to be again of p, and this equals to a wild pet, then you return me a wild pet. Okay, so you return me the world wide. Okay, not worldwide, just word wild. So this, and the same case we have to mention on the top also here, guys, something like this. Okay, so this we are doing. So now we are returning one column whether it is a domestic or a wild, another column for gender, another column for type, another column for the count. So this is how it is going to look like for us. So we can say control A and control shift F. Okay, and yeah, this is fine. Now let's start adding the things here. So here how it is going to look like. So first of all, here if we go, so let's start fetching things. So here also it is going to be a list of array, only array rows. So it is going to look like this, and here we are going to say finish in this particular way. Then we are going to make an iteration over this. So here let's say we iterate, and here we are going to close these braces. Let's say control shift O, and then we will say something like this. Okay, so we are saying fetch statistics. It will provide me a list of array. Within array I'm saying on index 0 I have category, index 1 I have gender, index 2 I have type, and index 3 I'm going to have a count. But this is alone not going to work. I mean, who is going to add up all these counts and everything? You as a backend developer have to add. Front end developers are not going to add these numbers. You have to add and provide it in a nice way. Okay, so let's start doing that. So for this we will go to this bat statistics DTO, and here let's start making the changes. So here we will go, and in this one basically what I want, basically we want to return a total. So here we are going to say long, because it can be a very big number. Yeah, so it can be a long. And then we want another map. Okay, so here we want another map. Here in this map it is going to be a map of the category and then a DTO for that category. Okay, for this we are going to say category, and then here I'm going to make usage of this word statistics, and then I'm going to say here DTO. Okay, then I'm going to say here category, then I'm going to say this, and I will be saying here, I mean not this, it has to be category, and I will be saying here new of a hash map. Okay, a simple hash map is going to be enough. You don't need a linked hash map or any other big hash map. Only this is fine. Now here what we need, here we will create a method public void, and what this method will do, it will just keep on adding up the things so that we get our this total number. Okay, we want this total number 72 pets, so hence we have to add up all the things. So this is the one, so we will say increment total, and in this one what we will be getting, we will be getting a count, and what it is going to basically do is to this total plus equals to, and we are going to get this count here. So this we will be getting. Another thing is we have to, I mean, put data within this also. Okay, within this map. So here we are going to say here public. Again I'm just going to show you this one method. Another internal classes I'm going to just copy paste. Okay, statistics, and then I'm going to say here DTO, and here what I want is I will say get or create. So I will say get or create category, and within this what I'm going to get is a string category. Okay, so basically what we are doing, we are creating a map. In that map the string is going to be your category, that is wild or a domestic, and then the value is again going to be a DTO. Why we need DTO? Because if you will see, we can't just simply say that okay they were domestic 36, only that is not going to work. Within that domestic again we have to again further say male female, again we have to say bird cat dog and all these things. So that's why again we need a DTO, not just a number. So here we are going to say this return this dot category, and here we can just simply make usage of compute if absent. Okay, I mean that's a good method, you should be start using it. It has nothing to do with the Spring and everything, it is just a Java method. Okay, so here we will say whatever the category you will be getting, and then you have to just create. Okay, so we can say like this, and here we will say new of pet, and I was hoping I will be getting this big name, so but not an issue, I will do hard work on my own. You have to do all this hard work alone, and this, and here I wish to call it as this dot total. Okay, so this is how it is going to look like, and here it says that okay you can just say this. Okay, that looks nice, I can just simply say this one also, pet statistics, this one, and here I mean which methods we need basically. So here I just want me to, I mean maybe I have to debug, so I will add a toString and just a getter. Okay, getter is mandatory, otherwise UI won't be able to get all this data. Yeah, so getter is very, very mandatory, I mean even the Postman is not going to show you the data. Now we have to make this one. Okay, or first of all, till now we are on which position? Now what all things can we do with the help of this? Yeah, so let's see. Now since we have added a total here, so I can add this particular method here, that is I can say here increment total. So this method I can create. Also what I can do is I can add something as this category DTO. So I will say this one as category DTO, and here I will say get or create category. Yeah, and this we have made, and this DTO is yet to be made. So let's create this class, and this class has to be a part of another DTO package. So let's finish it here and say this, and what we will do, first of all here we will say Control Shift O. Now here what it says, it says does not define pet categories statistics DTO. Okay, it says there is nothing as string or something, so let's go and start creating. So where we go, we go here. So here also we need a total first of all, so let me add a total, and I will be saying this, and what we need now in further every category we want gender. Okay, so that gender is again going to be another gender statistics DTO. So this we are going to make, and then there also we want again all those things same as previous. So we will be again copying this, and again we are going to make it, let's say Control Shift O, and this finish we are going to do. This is how it is going to look like. And now what we can do from here is again this toString and getter. So again we need this. Okay, so see what basically we are doing. Now for every category DTO we are having it long, that is the number, and within that again we need a DTO. Why? Because under this also it can be a male, then some numbers for male, then under that bird cat dog it can be a female or this. So that's why we want all these things. Okay, now here what is the issue? The issue is it says that okay this class is not available. Okay, not an issue, let's create this class. So there we go, and there we go, and this is the one, and I believe this should be the last but not the least. Okay, so here also now what we want this time, again we want a total because we want a number. Okay, now see we are inside this mail. Under this what do we have? Now this is simple, there is no further class, so again we don't need a big DTO here. This time a simple map is going to be sufficient for us. So now what we are going to do, map, and type is going to be pet type, value is just going to be a long, we don't need a further map here. Okay, so this is how you have to understand. Here also we will again have those methods. So one is to update the increment total. Another one is that again and again you will get the cat, dog and all these things. So again we need this merge or create type. This is again something simple which you were doing till now in your pet statistic DTO, like get or create category in the same lines. Yeah. Now what we need, again we need these annotations here, otherwise how will you get the data? Okay, so again we will say this, and this is ready here guys. Now let's go back to this category statistics studio. It seems to be okay, and we have to, I guess, pass it like this, then only it is going to work, otherwise it will not work. Yeah, the suggestion was wrong, so yeah, this is the right way of doing it guys. Okay, so this we have received, and we are missing with an ending bracket. So this and control shift O. What is the issue? It says the method. Okay, here we have to say new. That's the issue. Control shift F, and yeah, this looks nice. Okay, this is the one. So everywhere we have created the methods. Let's come back to our service IMPL. So now within this category get statics DTO, there also what we want, we have to increment total. So let's add the total. Another thing, we have to create this pet statistics DTO. So let's do that. So here we will copy this next line, and here we are going to, I mean not this, but here we are going to make that particular one. So again, let's get that also. There also what do we have to do? Two things only. First of all, we have to keep on adding the count. So here we are adding the count, and next what we have to do is we have to invoke the another method merge and type. So for each and every type we have to add. So we are doing this. So this is how it is going to look. That was big. I mean, the single API seems to be much bigger than all other APIs. And see what it is doing. It is just returning is the data. Okay? What if it is not going to work now? Then it is going to be more painful for us. Okay. Now, if you will say that, okay, Abhishek, you haven't explained it well. I mean, what else can be explained in that? I created first class in front of you, and then I'm telling you one by one what are we going to do. Okay, so that you just have to rewatch it, because I know this was difficult. And if you still not get, take help of ChatGPT. Yeah, I mean, for these complex things, feel free to take help of AI guys. In the real world also that happens. As a developer, you have to be aware how do things work, but why is it not working? It says bad JPQL grammar exception. Something somewhere is wrong. Okay, and what is wrong here? It says, okay, this semicolon is a bad thing. Okay, let's go and check it out. So let's go back here and let's remove this. Yeah, how do I came to know? It's mentioned here. Okay, see, read this line. This semicolon is a bad grammar. Okay. At least it was clear. So let's again rerun. Yeah. So take help. So I'm saying that in the real world also, we make help of the AI tools. Yeah. Otherwise, things are not going to work. If not AI tools, I mean, what people used to use before 2-3 years, they used to make usage of Stack Overflow, or they have to make usage of the videos and everything. Yeah. So that's how the things are going to work. So it's ready, and now let's have a check. And here let's just copy this. So let's duplicate it, and here let's say find, here we will be saying get stats, and here what we are going to do is we will say slash pets, and here let's say stats, and here let's click on send, and let's hope we will get the output. Okay, see, this is the output which we are getting. So internally, like first of all, if you see here, we are getting total and category. That was our outer thing. Okay, we got total, and then we got this category. Remember, that was a map. Now within this map, if you see, the key was wild and domestic, and then further the value was a DTO. So that was the DTO. Now within each, so let's assume domestic only, wild is going to be something similar. There was another two things, a total and then gender map. Now within that gender map, what we did basically, we were having male and female as the key, and again DTO as the value of it. Now let's just assume female only. So within female, we were having a total and we were having type. Now in type, it is just simple enums and their numbers. So this is what we made in all those DTOs one by one, guys. Okay, so that is the thing. This will take time. It is not that simple that okay, you will just see once and you will understand. You have to spend time on this, then only you will be able to get. Now still the things are not yet ready. Still one more small thing is left. Okay, and that one more small thing is actually an optional, but later on, since we will be creating microservices, so it is going to be useful. I won't take more time, but a very small time. So currently what happens, everything is ready in our application, all the APIs and everything is ready, but what we want is that here we are having some APIs, let's say saving the owner, updating the pet details, or deleting the owner. These are very important APIs. It is going to touch the person. Luckily we are having here some, if I go to this owner DTO, you see we are having the email ID of the owner. So why not to send an email to the owner whenever such operation comes up into the picture. Okay, so let's do that. So for this, what we will do is, here we will go to pom.sm. Again, I will just explain you the required things. If you want things more detail, then you have to watch my emailing by Java playlist. So let's go here, and here I will be doing a copy paste because there is no benefit of writing all things on my own. So I'm going to add two dependencies here. First of all, I will tell you why do I need. First one is starter mail, so that we have a functionality to send the emails, and the second one is starter framework, so that whatever the emails we are going to send, those email have a nice UI for that particular thing. So this we have done. Now the next part is that after this, okay, let's write our logic. So for this, what I will do is I will be going here directly and I will be creating, okay, I have just by mistake I have again copied, so let me copy it again. I will go here and let me paste. So this is my mail service. So this is the one. So I will create a new interface, mail service, just a service layer. This, for this we don't need a controller layer. From the service method we are directly going to send the mails, but we won't need this mail DTO. So let me add this here, and this is how it is going to look like. So we are going to say mail DTO. So yeah, this is my mail DTO. It's very simple. To whom you want to send, the first name of the person, the last name of the person, and the mail type, because there is one different mail on creating the owner, another mail on deleting the owner, another mail on updating the owner. So which mail type, so that we wish to do here. So let's go here and let's say to create it as the, what do we see here, we wish to make it as an enum, and let's keep it inside this as enum, and here enums, and let's say here finish. And yeah, this is the one. For this also, again I will, let me just copy paste. Okay, and I will explain you why I'm copy pasting, not writing, because this one is big, it's not small. Okay, so what I'm doing here, I'm making enum, but this is not a simple enum like our pet type and gender. It is a bit difficult. Okay, here I'm saying there is an enum value welcome. In this welcome we are having two things. This I will be using as a subject. So whenever I will say that okay, send a mail of type welcome, use the subject as welcome to Pakistan. And where is the file of it, where is the UI file of it, it is welcome.ftlh. This is the file. Again, I'm not going to create this because that I have already shown in detail in the previous playlist. So I will simply go here and I will add something as this override all. So under templates I have added this file welcome.ftlh. It's a UI file. So here what we will do is, here we will say hi owner, the complete name, your profile has been successfully created along with the pet details, we are excited to have you on board, and thanks. Yep. So this we are going to do. You just assume that this is a service. Okay, beside this you don't have to worry much about the details. Okay, why it is important, because just by using it later on when we will be making microservice, I can create one whole different microservice just because of this mail one. Okay, so this I have done. So now we are ready with the mail DTO, we are ready with the mail type. Okay, mail type is not needed, entity is not needed, DTO is not needed, advice is not needed, controller is not needed, this is also not needed, exceptions also I don't feel so, repository also I don't feel so, util also I don't feel so. I just need to create a mail service IMPL here. Okay, so let me add this one here directly and then explain you how it is. So this is the one, mail service. Okay, here what we are doing, first we are saying Java mail sender. Using this you can assume that this is the engine using which you are going to send the mails. Yep. Then Then we are saying some configuration. So with the help of this configuration, we are going to refer these FTLH files which we have mentioned here. Then whenever you want to send the mail, you have to mention what is the sender's email, our email. Our application also will be using some email ID to send the mails, so that is our email. Okay, then I'm saying there will be some success message, failure message. So let's read it from this messages.properties file. Currently they are not here, so let's just simply add them. So I'm saying a copy, I'm going to say a paste, and yeah, this is it is going to look like. Now how we are sending, we will be getting this mail DTO object. From where, that I will tell you in some time. Once we got, we will be creating a my message. My message is basically helpful when you want to create a email content but with some UI, not just a normal mail. Then within that we are saying that okay, from whom you are sending, to whom you are sending, the subject. So see, subject we are getting from that category only, from that mail type. Okay, and then the text. So within the text we are providing category, first name and the last name. Okay, and then using this, what we are basically doing with this method, here we are picking that FTLH file, and within that we are passing this owner name. All details I have mentioned in emailing with the Java playlist. Please check that particular playlist if you want to learn this thing in more detail. For me, it is not possible to explain everything here. Okay, and here we are just returning the messages. Okay, if everything goes well, we will return a success message. If there is any issue, we will print the stack trace and we will return a failure message. Yeah, now from where we are going to send, so we are going to send it from our mails owner service IMPL. Okay, so in the owner service IMPL, what I will be doing is that I'm going to add it here like this, and let me say Control Shift O, then this is the one. Now first mail I wish to send when everything went well. Okay, so I will be doing, and since we are not going to return that, so I'm just going to log it. So for this also I'm going to make usage of lombok slf4g. So in the mail DTO I'm providing the owner DTO's email ID, first name and the last name, and the messages welcome. Okay, so how I will be getting this welcome, so let me do these import also directly, a copy paste. So there we go. I know many of you don't like this copy paste, but you can trust. I mean, the video is already long. If I will just keep on writing everything, or if we will spend multiple videos on a monolithic only, how we are going to cover microservices advanced, that's why only. Okay, if you're not getting the things, you have to watch the previous videos. Then another one we are going to send after everything is updated. So here and here, what is the different change? I've mentioned the type is modify, rest everything is same. And the third one is once we have deleted, and here we have to use another one, and here I remember the name was exit. Okay, so this way 3 emails I have been sending. Okay, that is done. So for sending the email, first we added dependency, then we added the DTO class enum, and then we added the logic how you will be sending. We added the templates also. But for emails we have to do a bit more things in the properties file. Okay, let's start doing. And here we have to, I will now I will write. Okay, I will explain you this part. So I will say here spring, and then I'm going to say here mail, and I'm going to say host. Okay, from where, which mail server you are going to use. In the real life, you will be making usage of Gmail, you will be making usage of Outlook, Yahoo, or everything. In the Java and the emailing by Java playlist, initially we made usage of Gmail server, the actual Gmail server, how to do everything I have mentioned there. And then we started using something as Mailpit, which is a temporary mail server. So that is going to run on your local host. From where to download, how to download, I will tell you again here. Okay, that part I'm going to repeat, but you have to mention the details. Okay, if you wish to make usage of the real Gmail server, that's easy. Just check that video and update these values. Okay, your local temporary one is going to run on localhost port number 1025 only. Yeah? And then 4 more properties are left, so let me just quickly paste only here and then mention you. So first, in the real world, when you will be using, let's say, Gmail, Outlook, or anything else, then both these properties have to be true. The authentication has to be true and star TLS has to be true. When you are using the dummy one, both of them have to be false. Besides this, here you need to provide the actual username of your email ID. Okay, with whom you are going to send. That you have to configure here, and the password also. So generally it is suggested that for your application you have a separate email, not your personal emails. Okay, so this is the one, and let's go back here, and what we will do is we will say open config. We will go to this environment, then we are going to provide here, and here I will say you can give anything. Okay, I mean, since it is just a dummy thing, so you don't need to provide the actual thing. You can give any random name, abc also, it is going to work. Okay, but in the real one you have to provide the real credentials, like if you are making usage of Gmail, Outlook or something. How to do that? For that also you just have to make usage, I mean, you just need to watch my that particular playlist. So I've given id, I have given password. Both these are dummy, you don't need to configure them anywhere else. Okay, these are just dummy because it will be required later on in our values. If you see all whether you make usage of real or dummy, you have to mention here the sender email, so that's why it is required here. So this is there, and now the only one simple part left is we have to get mail pit for this. So let's go here and we will say here mail pit. Let's search for this mail pit, and you will get this first thing only. This is a temporary email server, so just click on this particular one, and what it says, it's an email and SMTP tool. You just click on this installation, and from here you will get how to install. If you want to learn more details how to install and everything, then you can check that particular playlist. Otherwise what I will do is I will go here, and let me bring this screen here. What I've done, I have downloaded this mailpit, I have unzipped it, and I then got this mailpit.exe. Then I will open the command prompt here, and this command prompt, I hope you can see this one. Yeah, and here you just have to write mailpit. I mean, if you will try to double click, it is not going to work. You have to write here mailpit. So say here mailpit, and then it will say that okay, it is going to run on 1025. The server is going to run on 1025, its UI is going to run on this 8025. Okay, so here we will go, and you can see this is the UI of that temporary thing. So we will just go back here, and here let's try to run the same. So let's go, and yeah, that's how we are going to run this, guys. Yeah, so this is about my main Pakistan application, guys. Now tell me in the comments, how, why do you feel that okay, still this is not a real world application? Okay, I mean, there should be a concrete reason that why do you feel so. Yeah, so let's add. So first again, now this mail will only work only when you will save, update and delete. So let's see. So again, let's try to add the same data because earlier we deleted. So id should be 74 this time. Yeah, it's there. If we get it by this, and let's see whether it is added or not. So here we see that okay, this has been added. Let's go to console and see what do we see here. So in the console here you see we say successfully delivered email to the email id at this particular time. We can go and we can check here, not on this one but here, that yeah, this is the email, and you see a nice UI and everything is visible here. You can even add more contents also, and the complete details. Hi Maria Verma, your profile has been successfully added, everything is shown here. You can add even more UI details also here, that is possible. Okay, now let's try to update the pet name. So for this id 74, let's say this, and again let's call it as Mithu, and yeah, here it is done. Again, first of all, let's verify. So it's done here. Let's go back and let's have a look. Not here, it opened in a different one. So yeah, here I can see, and yeah, we wanted to let you know that your pad details have been successfully updated, which means we are picking the right file. And this last but not the least, and this time, I mean, just to showcase you that okay, name is not hard coded, let me delete some other user. Okay, randomly let's pick someone as, let's add 7 only. Okay, or let's add 70. Yeah. So let's add 70 and let's see. Okay, 70 has been deleted. Now if I will try to fetch this 70, what we will get, we can't find the owner, which means we have deleted it. Let's go back here, and this went to Eva Rogers. Actually it is not going to anyone because everything is dummy here. Okay, but here it will actually show you how it is going to look like in the real life. Hi Eva Rogers, and this is how it is going to work. If you want to replace it with the actual one, The only different things which you have to do here is that here in the application.properties file, these two values you have to make true. Here provide the host name of your Gmail server, Outlook server. Here provide the port number. I don't remember what was it. You can check my previous video. Okay, I mean, these things you don't have to remember. You can always check in the documentation and everywhere. Provide the actual email ID, actual password. Emails will go. That again, everything I have shown there. So that was it with this one. And just one more small thing, we should be able to create a jar file at the end. Otherwise, what's the benefit if we are not able to create a jar file? Currently, if I will make a jar file, then it will show me this thing 001 snapshot in the output, which I don't want. So what I will do here is that I'm going to do something magical here, that I will go to this build section, and here I will say here final name, and here you can just say Pakistan. I mean, I want this name Pakistan. Okay, so either you can say this, or you see this is nothing but your artifact ID. Okay, so this is your artifact ID. So we are going to copy this, and here we are going to say something as dollar. We are going to say this, and here we are going to call it as project dot artifact ID. And yeah, here we are going to do it like this, project dot artifact ID. Let's do a save and everything. Let's do a control A, control shift F. This looks nice. And now let's go back here and say maven, say run as maven build, and let's do a clean, what should we do, clean package, clean build. Tell me in the comments, what should we generally do if my goal is just to create a jar file? Trust me, 90% of you are going to give a wrong answer if you are going to give. Okay, maybe you have not even reached at this point. I'm just doing on my own. Okay, I mean, who will have that much time to watch the whole video? Let's see. So it is everything looks good. Okay, it's downloading some few more many things, and we got a build success. So here let's clear this, and let's just refresh the whole project, and then in the target folder we see pakistan.jar file is there. So this alone can work fine. So hence this was our monolithic application, guys. Now, please don't blame me in the next videos that Abhishek, you are just reading through the code, you are not explaining everything in detail, because the same application only we are going to break step by step. Okay. And one more small thing I forgot, that how will you get my those SQL files? Okay, so those SQL files are available here only under SRC resources. So this is my data.sql, where you will see all the data and everything, and this is your data.sql. I mean, here you can see some insert and select statements and everything. You can copy paste from here. So in the next videos, this single monolithic application we are going to convert to microservices. The question is why we should do that. Why? Then what is microservices, and then how we are going to do it? That we are going to watch in the next video. It is going to be very small, maybe just half an hour or 30-40 minutes only, but just a theoretical but important video. And in the next videos, we're going to step by step convert it to different stages of microservices. I feel next videos are not going to be this much long, because here we have to do everything from scratch. In the next video, it is just breaking. We are just going to break the things step by step. Sometimes when you break the things, you create the things. Okay, so that's why we are going to do. I hope you liked the video, and if yes, then at least watch the next video. That's it. I don't ask you to subscribe or like anymore. Okay, bye everyone.